Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about globalization and labor. My name is Peng Yujun and I'm from the Department of Finance. My topic today is the impact on labor of outsourcing, which was caused by globalization. And I think the two was quite the same. And we all know that globalization provide huge convenience and progress for the whole world, and it's inevitable that a country experience globalization when it is in its developing stage. The impact of globalization is good for a country in some aspect and bad for a country in another aspect. However, when it comes to accept globalization or not, we need to estimate the cost and the benefit, and we learn from the economic of the globalization. So now I want to talk about the impact of globalization on labor from two aspects, from the cost aspect and the benefit aspect, and we'll conclude it after we talk about it. Uh, yes, and PDT is labor exploitation, and I think that's the main cause of the cost on outsourcing, and that is globalization, and the benefit of it is economic opportunity for the country. And what is the truth? And let's move on to the disadvantage exploitation of labor. And first, I want to introduce what is outsourcing. And I think outsourcing is that a company, often in a developed country, is seeking for cheaper resource. Maybe it's labor, maybe it's material for their product, and they will build a factory in other country and hire local people as their employees to save the money to produce their product. So now we're going to move on to the disadvantage. I think I conclude three disadvantage of the outsourcing, and we'll talk about the first one is poor working condition, and is the most common that people says about the disadvantage of outsourcing. We know that companies do outsourcing to profit and for cheaper labor. If the local regulation of it is not strict and rigorous, local people may be forced to work in a bad environment or work overtime. And this is not rare in the society this day. We can see lots of cases reported that workers work overtime in a small and uh, heated factory, but they don't have any way to solve it or even reveal to the publicity. So if outsourcing is prevail in the local, and the local regulation about the labor protection are not that strong, and the situation may happen, and this will harm the benefit and harm the health of the local workers. And second is lack of labor protection. In some cases, outsourcing uh, often occur in countries with weak labor rights and labor law, labor regulation, and limited labor union, and this is most important. And and this will make it difficult for workers to assert their right and protect themselves from being abused of the foreign company. If the company don't treat their employee well, there'll be nowhere for the workers to seek for help or even just reveal all this to the publicity. And the third one is income inequality. When outsourcing is prevalent in a country, this will make the country more inequality. Why? Because the landowner, the more rich one in the country, can make more money by lease the land to the foreign company and they'll become more rich, while local people can only be hired at a low salary in a factory. And foreign company also work closely with the local landowner, and this will uh, intensify the conflict in the society and cause social issue. Yeah. And after the disadvantage, I also conclude three advantage of outsourcing. And let's move on to the first one, and I think it's most important, and almost all the country do outsourcing because of this is job creation and economic growth. And outsourcing provide a huge job and a business for the country, and labor also benefit from getting more job available. And we know from economic, more job available means the the equivalent wage will increase. And I think China is a good example of it. Outsourcing is a huge industry in China. We can even say that without outsourcing, China will never reach its economic status now. And I think the economic growth provided by the outsourcing industrial from the foreign company is huge and never be replaced. And yes, and the second one is the transfer of skill and knowledge. When a foreign company outsourcing to other country, they will also bring machine and their machine and technology to the country and the people. They will teach the local people how to use the machine and increase their ability. So after the contract is over, or the local salary increase, so they move to other place to outsourcing, the local government can establish the industry on their own, and this will improve a country's in economic condition and increase the salary, and this will provide and this will benefit the laborers and the people locally. And the third one is poverty reduction, and I think lots of poverty is caused by lack of job opportunity, and is the main reason of poverty. And outsourcing perfectly solve this problem and make a double benefit to the locals and the foreign companies. Local people get a job and escape poverty, and foreign company get cheaper labor. Yes, and after we analyze the cost and the benefit of outsourcing, how do we manage to estimate the overall benefit? And I think I got this article on the internet from Washington Post. Washington Post, and I also have a reference down below here. So I think this post is um, clearly clearly shed light to this problem, and my title here is what's the trade-off? And trade-off is the cost and the benefit, the trade-off between these two. And this in this post we not only this poll not only make an analysis of the cost and the benefit of outsourcing, but also but they also have a survey in a reality. And here's what they found: foreign company, especially big name, big brand, such as Coca-Cola, Nike, and Adidas, the big name of the industrial, instead of exploit local labor. However, they offer more protection and higher wage in comparison to local company, because they want to keep a good reputation and maintain good quality of their product. And these two is extremely important in the entrepreneur's management these days. Uh, Good quality can keep your customer loyalty, and the reputation is also very important for a company. Uh, a company with without good reputation, will never be successful. And that is, and by is after we knowing this, that is the downside that people says about outsourcing is never a problem. Instead, it's a problem of all companies that hire employees and the the advocation of labor right and labor regulation. So as a consequence, we should not reject foreign investment in local, because this will benefit overall. However, we should also set strict labor regulation and labor law to make the laborers well understand their labor rights. By doing so, the labor exploitation will never happen, and the local people and labor can enjoy the benefit of economic growth bring by the outsourcing. And I think, and that's my conclusion. Thank you. Thank you for listening.